and welcome back to my channel. My name is October and this is Nerd Boy Reads. This may be a little bit late to do considering it's not the exact middle of the year, but it's still June, so it still counts as the middle of the year. So today we're going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag, which is probably a little bit weird to do considering no one knows where I am reading and no one knows what I've been reading since I started the channel in the middle of the year. But I'm still going to do it because it's a fun little tag I see going around and I want to get involved, you know? My reading goal, for the record, is 80 books, and so far I have read 33. I am currently reading a 34th, which should be done by the end of this weekend. As of recording, it is the 18th, so I hope to be finished with it by the 19th or the 20th. So I am on track for reading, at least I think I am. I only have to read, like, if I did my math correctly, 8 books in 6 months and I'll be fine on my goal. So I'm not really, worried about it. I read pretty quickly, and since it is summer, despite me having a full-time job, I still have plenty of time to read. So I'm gonna go ahead with the tag now. Hopefully this will help you figure out where we are and what I like to read more and what I've been reading. So yeah. The first question is the best book you have read thus far. This was a really difficult question for me to answer because I have read a bunch of really good books this year, but I have to say the best books that I have read are kind of rereads, and that is the Johannes Cabal series by Jonathan L. Howard. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about this series anymore. It is kind of older, like 20... This book came out in 2009, and then I think the most recent book and the last book, the 5th book, came out in like 2015, but I still haven't heard anyone talking about this series. This first book follows Johannes Cabal, a necromancer who previously sold his soul to gain more abilities in the necromantic arts, only to find out that he needs his soul to, get where he needs to go. He goes to hell to demand his soul back from Satan and is put up to a wager that he has to get 100 souls in a year in order to regain his own soul. That sounds like kind of a dark topic, but this book is hilarious. There are many times in this series, this book especially, where I had to stop just because I was laughing so hard. I got my friend into this series. I've loaned her the entire series, but she now has the 4th book. Otherwise, I'd be holding that up later down the line. But I really love this series. Rereading it really made me realize what I love so much about this series. I love the humor. I love the characters, their interactions. This is very much a character-driven story, which I really love, but it's also fast-paced when it's action, and it's a different genre every time you pick it up. This one is a haunted carnival, if you're into that. The next one is a murder mystery in a steampunk blimp, so I can't tell you much more because anything after that is a spoiler for the entire series, but I do love this series. I highly recommend picking it up, and this series counts as the best books that I've picked up this year. The next question is the best sequel that you've read this far, and I have 2 of them. I don't know if this first one counts as a sequel, but it is The Sword of Destiny, the 2nd book in the Witcher series by Andrzej Sapkowski. I really enjoyed getting back into this world. I really enjoyed seeing Geralt again and his assholeness. No one really talks about how much of an asshole he is, and I really enjoy that fact about him. I love seeing him interact with the other characters and how he handles the situations he's put in. I love seeing the world around him. I love the world building. I still need to watch the Netflix series, but the books are a great way for me to get into it, and it really has made me want to watch the Netflix series more. I'm sorry for the weird lighting, by the way. I'm using natural lighting and there are clouds and trees everywhere, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. Sorry. Back to the book. This is one of the I'm counting this as the sequel because it is the 2nd book that was published, and it is the 2nd book chronologically in the Witcher series, so I think it counts even though it is a collection of short stories. This one is Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This is the 2nd book in the Locked Tomb series, and I really loved this book. It was very confusing, I will say, because I did take a long time between the 1st and 2nd book, but once I started figuring out what happened and remembering what happened, it really made what happened in this book make a lot more sense, and I'm really glad that I did. I don't know how to begin to describe what happens in this book. Everything I say is a spoiler, so if you're interested in this series, I highly recommend picking it up for yourself. It was very confusing, but then it wasn't, and once it wasn't, it made everything that has happened so far make sense. That's all I can say about it. It's one of the best sequels I've read thus far, so yeah. Next is a new release that you haven't read yet, and I'm going with Gallant by Ve Schwab. This is upside down. Gallant by Ve Schwab. I don't know about this series. I don't know what this book is about. I did just pick it up because Ve Schwab wrote it, but it counts because I really, really, really want to read this book. It is on my TBR for this month, so once I finish with The Great Glowing Coils of the Universe, I am either going to pick this one up or Alice Isn't Dead because I am in the Night Vale mood, but this is definitely getting read this month. One of my friends just read this and she said it was really good, so that made me want to read it even more, so I am very excited to read about it. Plus I like this cover. It really intrigues me about what this book is going to be about, because with a cover like this, I am all but like I'm very just ready to explore this world. I don't know if it's a standalone or a series, but whatever it is, if Ve Schwab writes it, I'm excited to read it, and I will definitely keep up with it if it is a series. Next is the most anticipated release for the second half, and I'm gonna have to go with a paperback release, because the paperback version of, what was it, Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix comes out next month. Well, not next month, in like August or something, and I'm really looking forward to reading that. I have waited this long because I am trying to collect all of Grady Hendrix's books in paperback, because that's where I started. Plus paperbacks are cheaper, and I'm looking forward to reading that. So that's probably my favorite new release. I don't have anything to put here because I don't have the book. Next is the biggest disappointment of the year, and I have two answers for this. The first one is the Batman novel, Before the Batman. I really didn't like this book. I saw Batman in March, and that really threw off my entire March. Like, I was so obsessed with Batman for a whole month. It was ridiculous. So I picked up this book hoping to fuel the Batman obsession and to... This cover is really shiny. And to, you know, probably... I don't know what I expected. I just wanted more Batman content, and this just wasn't it. It is a middle grade, I will say. It's very short, so it really didn't do what I wanted it to do. I feel like there was a lot of unexplored avenues in this book, and it just was way toned down from what the Batman movie was. Again, I know it was a middle grade, but still, it was disappointing considering the hype and the well-earned hype the Batman movie got. If you haven't seen the Batman movie, please see it. It's really good. Next one is Mordu by Alex Phoebe. I'm going to be talking about this in spoilers because there's no, way I can talk about it without spoilers, so I'm going to give you a second to click off. I'm going to be holding this book up while I talk about the spoilers, so if you care, when I put the book down, you can listen again. But this book really disappointed me because the premise is about God being dead, and and his corpse is being used to fuel a magician, and this boy has to learn about the magic stuff that goes on because of God being dead, but we don't get any context for that until at least 3/4 of the way through the book. The rest of the time, it's just, little children going on hijinks and gang wars and disappointment and betrayal, and that's just not what I came into this book for. The world was fine, don't get me wrong, the writing style was fine, but premise and the payoff weren't the same, and it left me kind of disappointed. Well, very disappointed. It's on this list for a reason, to the point where I am actually gonna give this book away because I am not gonna keep up with this series. It's supposed to be like a trilogy, I believe. I don't care about anything else that happens in this book. I don't care about its characters. I don't care about its world. I just want to be rid of it because it disappointed me so much. The next question is the biggest surprise, and for that I have The Rig by Roger Levy. I just finished this book last week, a week or two ago, and it really did surprise me. It came out of nowhere. I will admit it's a kind of a thick book, and I didn't really get into it until maybe 100 pages in, but once I did, I was gripped. The mystery, the twists, the characters, everything happening in this book really made it probably one of my favorite reads of this year. I can't really say for sure because I still have at least like 35 more books to read before I'm done with my goal. So who knows what's going to happen in that time. But this is definitely high up for at least this first half of the year. Roger Levy definitely has a writing style that I can get into. I really like how he builds world and characters. He really throws us into this world and just immerses us. He doesn't info dump. He doesn't, smother us with new information that we have to get in. We just have to. He's just a really good writer. I don't know what else to say. I like how he builds characters. I like how he describes things. It was kind of grimy, which I really enjoyed in my books, so this was a big surprise for me. The next is a new favorite author, or a favorite new to you author. I didn't really know what I meant by this when I wrote it down, but I'm going to go with a favorite new to you author, and that is Simone St. James. I really like this Sundown Motel, and it really made me want to read more of her books. She has the Cold Case Files, I believe, and one more I can't list off the top of my head, but I did enjoy the dual timeline murder mystery that went on in this book. I really enjoyed how she wrote her characters, and I really enjoy how she just... yeah. I'm looking forward to reading more of her books. I'm probably going to pick up the Cold Case Files next, because I think that's out in paperback. If not, then I'm just going to wait for it. But this was a really good book. It really made me want to read more of her stuff, so that's why she is a favorite new to me author, and a favorite new author. I don't know what I meant by... well, she's not a new author, so I'm just going to go with favorite new to me author. I think that's how I interpret it anyway. So, yeah. Next is a new favorite... Next is a new fictional crush, and I don't really have one of those. So I can't really say I don't get fictional crushes. I definitely have plenty of those, but none of the characters that I've read about this year, except for maybe some manga characters, but I'm doing books right now, but none of the book characters that I've read really made me, develop a crush on a fictional character, so I can't really answer that question. But the next question is favorite new favorite fictional character, and I have to say Guy Fawkes from Fox by Nadine Brandes. I'll have to say I really enjoy how he was written in this book. This book is about a world where it's set in like the Guy Fawkes era, the Revolution times, and we follow the son of Guy Fawkes in a magical world where everyone is assigned a color to do magic, and it's just a really good book. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about this. I think Romanoff by her was popular a little bit back in the day, but this book was really good as well. Guy Fawkes is a really good character in this book. I really enjoy how loyal he is to his cause. He's a pretty solid father considering every other fictional father that is out there. So I think that's why I liked him a lot. I really enjoyed his relationship with his son, and how he really tried to get his son on his side, and how he didn't let his cause ruin his relationship with his son. So if you want to read more of her work, if you read Romanoff, let me know how that is. But I really enjoyed Fawkes. I'm looking for a hardback version of Romanoff because this is hardback, and I like to collect my authors in one type of book. So yeah, Guy Fawkes by Nadine Brandes. Next is a book that made you cry, and this totally counts because it is a light novel, and that is Bungo Stray Dogs 2, Osamu Daisai and the Dark Arrow. This book made me cry. If you know, you know. I've really been getting into Bungo Stray Dogs recently. I've really recently hit a stride with it. I started the anime. I've read up to 13 in the manga, and then I have the spin-off series Beasts, and now I really just want to read the light novels because there are about 9 or 10 in there. But yeah, this book made me cry. Well, it didn't really make me cry. I haven't really cried really hard over a book, but this did make me tear up, and it made me pause for a bit, so I'm going to count it. I really enjoyed this book. It follows Osamu Daisai. If you know Bungo Stray Dogs, this follows Osamu Daisai in his dark era. If you know, you know. And yeah, really good book. Made me cry. Next is a book that made you happy, and I have an answer for this, but again, I loaned the fourth book out to a friend, so I'm going to hold up a filler book in its place since it is part of the same series. But that is the Johannes Cabal series. The fourth book made me really happy. But I'm gonna hold this up because this also made me happy. This is the second book in the Johannes Cabal series. It really made me happy to get back into this world again, and I really forgot how funny this book is. There are certain parts in this book that I had to stop and laugh, and I really enjoyed rediscovering the characters and watching Johannes Cabal interact with the world in the certain way that he has. If you know, you know. But the fourth book also made me happy. I can't say why because it's a spoiler. But yeah, I think this is the only book I can talk about without spoiling the entire rest of the series. But this book was really good. It really made me happy. I really enjoyed reading this series again. I'm glad I did a reread of it. So yeah. I guess I could also put the fifth book in that series up as one that made me cry. I'm not going to tell you why because it's the last book in a series. But if you know, you know. If you want to know, read the series. No one talks about it enough, in my opinion, so read the series either way. Question is a favorite book to movie adaptation or a book adaptation in general, and I haven't seen one. I don't really watch a lot of adaptations, not for lack of trying. It's just that all the adaptations that are coming out are not for books that I am interested in, except for I think I said earlier that AJ Fickery is getting an adaptation, I've heard, so I might watch that if I like the book, but I haven't really seen a lot of adaptations. I mean, I think I rewatched the Pride and Prejudice adaptation recently, so I'm gonna have to go with that. So yeah, the Pride and Prejudice adaptation was really good, so I'm gonna go with that. This question is the most beautiful book you've bought, and I said in my first video, I think, that I am on a book buying ban, so I haven't really been purchasing a lot of books, but I still been purchasing books because I'm a whore. But the most beautiful book I have to say I've bought is this book, The Angel of the Crows by Catherine Addison. I just love the black, I love the matte black and the crows that are flying around. I love the color gradients. I love the little London we have there. I'm just a sucker for this book. The cover is what initially brought me to pick up this book, and the spine, because it's black, and again, I'm a whore. So I picked this book up, and then the cover that is this pretty really didn't help me. So I have to go with The Angel of the Crows. It's really soft too, like, and as I'm rubbing it, which is weird. I know, shut up about it. I just love this book. I think it's really pretty, and I can't wait to read it. Last book is a book And the last question is a book you really need to read before the end of the year, to which I answer, where do I begin? As you saw in my TBR video, I have so many books that I said I want to read before the end of the year, so I can't pick one, but I'm going to, probably. If I had to pick one, I would have to say, just one, out of the like hundreds of books that I have, books, manga, light novels, whatever, that I have to get to before the end of the year, I'd have to say The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. I've had this book since 2017, which isn't the oldest book I have in my TBR, but I'm not really interested in the oldest book I have in my TBR, and I am interested in this. So I have to say The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones is something that I have to get through before the end of the year. I may bring it to Nebraska with me because I don't have much to do in Nebraska, and I'm trying not to drive a lot because gas is $5 a gallon. God. Anyway, I have to read this before the end of the year. If I don't, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stop reading, I guess, entirely, because it's ridiculous how long this book has been on my TBR, and how many, like, monthly TBRs I have put it on. I don't know where to fit this. I may put it in, like, the end of the year, the autumn, fall-y area, not spooky season, because those are, like, strictly for horror books, but this is gonna go on a TBR this year, and it's going to get read. Amen. I don't know what else to say. Thank you for watching this video. I really enjoyed answering the questions, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my answers. If you would like to answer the questions yourself, I'll put them in the description below so you can do it. I would really enjoy seeing your answers. Tell me what you're excited about reading. Tell me what you didn't like reading. Just let me know down in the comments. Be sure to like if you like this video. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and do that. So, yeah, thanks for watching.